Hi everyone, this is Vespa Designs. Lighting design is all about creating the right atmosphere, but there's one element that often gets overlooked: the shadow. Today, let's dive into the world of shadow play and lighting design. We'll explore how a well-placed shadow can add depth, texture, and dimension to any environment. Light and shadow aren't just opposites, they coexist in harmony. With the right optics, angles, and materials, shadows can transform a space. They can make a room feel more dramatic, immersive, or even calm and uniform, setting the mood for every corner. Let's try a quick experiment to see how the shape, distribution, and aiming angle of a light source can dramatically change the appearance of an object and its shadow. Check out this example using a simple set of forks. To create defined, crisp shadows, we use a point light source with a spot optic, angled from the side, like the left image. Notice how the individual tines of each fork cast sharp, distinct shadows. Now, for softer, more blended shadows, we still use a point source, but switch to a diffused optic. The shadows overlap and lose their edges, creating a gentler effect with blurry shadows, as shown in the middle image. And to minimize shadows altogether, we use a continuous linear source with a diffuse lens, placed directly overhead. This creates an uniform light across the surface, with barely any noticeable shadows, as shown in the right image. As you can see, by adjusting just a few lighting variables, we can dramatically change how objects and spaces are perceived. Here's another fascinating example of how light and shadow can completely transform a space. This time, we're looking at what happens when light interacts with translucent materials. When you shine light through transparent objects, especially ones with flowing forms or textured surfaces, you get these mesmerizing visual effects. Light bends, reflects, and refracts in all kinds of ways, adding layers of depth and movement to what you're seeing. Materials like glass, acrylic, or even liquids can scatter and shape the light into intricate, unexpected patterns. As the light shifts in angle or intensity, the shadows and projections change too, so the whole space feels alive, almost like it's breathing. With just a carefully placed spotlight, you can highlight these effects and turn an ordinary corner into a dynamic canvas of light and shadow. It's a simple trick, but the impact can be stunning. For example, try lighting up a glass bottle using a spotlight. When the light source is placed beneath the bottle, it creates a magical pattern of shadows that dance across the ceiling. Shift the light to the side, and you'll see beautifully distorted shadows stretch across the wall, each angle revealing something new. Now let's look at how light interacts with water. Using a spotlight from above, like a downlight aimed at the surface, or a submersible light placed within the water, you'll get shimmering reflections that ripple across nearby walls. The movement of the water animates the light, creating a mesmerizing, ever-changing display. Here is another aspect about light and shadow design. In architectural lighting, cove details are often used to deliver soft, indirect illumination, adding warmth, coziness, and a sense of hospitality to a space. But if the detail isn't carefully executed, the effect can be compromised. Instead of a smooth wash of light, you might end up with unwanted shadow lines that disrupt the clean, ambient feel. Take this example: a light source with a diffused optic is placed right up against the wall inside the cove. The problem? The edge of the cove cuts off the beam, casting a harsh shadow on the adjacent side wall. This kind of result is usually not part of the design intent, but it happens more often than you'd think. So how do we avoid this? First, pull the light fixture back a few inches from the end wall. This reduces the intensity of the side wall shadow. Next, consider making the cove deeper, which allows better light cutoff and conceal the source from view. Finally, opt for a narrower optic, so the light is focused where it's meant to be, on the main wall, not spilling awkwardly onto the sides. With just a few adjustments, you can preserve the elegance of indirect lighting and avoid those distracting shadow lines. Thanks for joining us. If you're interested in more tips on lighting design, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. We'd love to help you bring your vision to life.